Kamala Harris is one of the most talked about figures in modern American politics. Kamala Harris was born on October 20, 1964, in Oakland. Her full name is Kamala Devi Harris. Her background was unique and deeply multicultural. Her mother, Shyamala Gopalan, immigrated from India. She was a respected cancer researcher. Her father, Donald Harris, immigrated from Jamaica. He became an economist and university professor. Both parents were highly educated. Both believed strongly in justice and civil rights. This shaped Kamala from an early age. She grew up in a household where politics, equality, and social justice were regular topics of discussion. These ideas became part of her worldview. Kamala grew up during major social change. The 1960s and 1970s were turbulent decades in America. Civil rights struggles were reshaping society. Debates about race, equality, and opportunity were everywhere. Kamala's parents were active in civil rights circles. As a child, she was exposed to activism early. She saw that laws and institutions could either help people or hold them back. That lesson stayed with her. When Kamala was young, her parents divorced. This changed family life significantly. She and her sister, Maya Harris, were largely raised by their mother. Kamala often spoke about her mother's influence. She described her as brilliant, strong, and determined. Her mother taught her an important mindset: do not wait for others to define you. Define yourself. That became central to Kamala's identity. Education became her next step toward power. Kamala attended Howard University in Washington. This was a major turning point. Howard University is one of America's most respected historically black universities. There, Kamala developed leadership skills and political confidence. She studied political science and economics. She joined debates and student organizations. Howard strengthened her sense of identity and purpose. She later said it helped shape her belief in public service. After college, Kamala continued toward law. She attended University of California, Hastings College of the Law. She became a prosecutor. And this career choice would define her rise. Because Kamala Harris believed something important, real change often happens inside institutions, not just outside them. That belief would guide her entire political career. From prosecutor to senator to vice president, her rise was only beginning. After graduating from University of California, Hastings College of the Law, Kamala Harris entered the legal world with clear ambition. She chose a path that surprised some people. She became a prosecutor. This decision would later define both her strengths and her controversies. Why? Because many people fighting for social justice often criticize the criminal justice system. Kamala chose to work inside that system. She believed change could come from within. Her idea was simple. If the justice system affects people's lives so deeply, then who holds power inside that system matters. That belief drove her career. Harris quickly built a reputation. Kamala began working as a deputy district attorney in Alameda County. The work was intense. Long hours. Difficult cases. Constant pressure. She prosecuted crimes ranging from theft to violent offenses. This job required toughness. Courtrooms are competitive environments. Every argument matters. Every mistake can cost a case. Kamala learned how to think fast, question aggressively, and stay calm under pressure. These skills later became some of her biggest political strengths. People noticed her confidence. She was sharp, prepared, disciplined, and highly ambitious. Then came her first major political leap. In 2003, Kamala Harris ran for District Attorney of San Francisco. This was a big move. She was challenging the incumbent. That meant risk. But Kamala believed she could win by presenting herself as a reform-minded prosecutor. She campaigned on being both tough on crime, smart about justice reform. That message worked. She won. At age 39, Kamala Harris became the District Attorney of San Francisco. Now she was no longer just arguing cases. She was leading an entire office. Managing prosecutors. Setting policy. Making high-stakes decisions. Her profile grew rapidly. But with power came criticism. Some progressives said she was too tough. Some conservatives said she wasn't tough enough. This pattern would follow her throughout her career. Kamala often found herself criticized from both sides. Yet her ambition kept growing. By 2010, Kamala aimed even higher. She ran for Attorney General of California. This was one of the most powerful legal positions in the country. California itself is massive. If it were a country, its economy would rank among the largest in the world. Winning statewide office there meant national attention. The race was extremely close. Very close. But Kamala won. She became the first woman, the first black person, and the first South Asian American to serve as California's Attorney General. Again, history was made. And again, barriers were broken. Her national reputation exploded. As Attorney General, Harris handled major cases involving consumer protection, big banks, mortgage fraud, criminal justice issues, technology companies. One of her most high-profile battles came after the 2008 financial crisis. Large banks were accused of abusive mortgage practices during the housing collapse. Millions of Americans were suffering. Homes were being lost. Families were under pressure. Kamala took a tough negotiating stance against major financial institutions. She pushed aggressively for larger settlements for homeowners. This made headlines nationwide. Suddenly, people outside California knew her name. She was becoming a national political figure. Media began paying closer attention. Democrats saw potential. A charismatic speaker. Sharp in debate. Experienced in law. Historic background. She looked like a future national leader. And soon, the next step would come. Washington. The United States Senate was waiting. By 2016, Kamala Harris had become one of the most recognizable political figures in California. Her legal career had brought her national attention. Her courtroom style had built a reputation for toughness. And many Democrats saw enormous potential in her future. Then came the next major step. Washington. Kamala Harris entered the United States Senate at a historic moment. In 2016, Harris ran for the United States Senate. She won. Once again, history followed her. She became only the second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. That alone made headlines. But timing made it even bigger. The same year, Donald Trump won the presidency. America became deeply polarized. Political tension exploded. National debates became more aggressive. Congress became a battlefield. And Harris quickly became one of the Democratic Party's most visible voices. The Senate made her famous nationwide. Kamala gained attention during Senate hearings, particularly during high-profile questioning of government officials and judicial nominees. Her questioning style stood out. She was direct, fast, highly prepared. She often asked sharp, precise questions that forced witnesses into uncomfortable positions. Many viewers noticed similarities to a prosecutor in court. That made sense. Because that was exactly what she had been. Clips of her Senate questioning spread widely online. Supporters loved her style. They saw intelligence, strength, fearlessness. Critics, however, called her overly aggressive. But regardless of opinion, one thing became clear: Kamala Harris knew how to command attention. She was becoming a national star. Soon, bigger ambitions emerged. By 2019, speculation grew louder. Would Kamala Harris run for president? The answer came quickly. Yes. She announced her campaign for the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination. The launch created massive excitement. Why? Because Harris seemed to check many boxes, young enough for a long political future. Experienced in law and government. Strong public speaker. Historic identity. Many believed she could become president. Early momentum was strong. But presidential campaigns are brutal. Very brutal. Debates were intense. Competition was fierce. Fundraising pressure was enormous. Kamala had strong moments, especially during debates. One of the most talked about moments came when she challenged Joe Biden on past positions related to school busing and race. The exchange made national headlines. It showed something important. Kamala was willing to challenge even top candidates. But despite strong moments, her campaign struggled. Support began falling. Internal campaign issues grew. Eventually, she ended her presidential campaign before voting began. For many politicians, that would feel like the end. But for Kamala, it was not the end. It was only a turn in the road. Then came the phone call that changed everything. In 2020, after securing the Democratic nomination, Joe Biden needed a running mate. The decision mattered enormously. America was facing multiple crises: political division, economic uncertainty, COVID-19, social unrest. Biden wanted someone prepared for national leadership. He chose Kamala Harris. History was made instantly. Kamala became the first black woman and first South Asian woman ever nominated for vice president by a major United States party. This was a historic moment. The campaign became one of the most watched in modern history. Every speech mattered. Every debate mattered. Every appearance mattered. Pressure was enormous. But Kamala remained disciplined. She campaigned across the country, defending the Biden agenda and energizing voters. Then came Election Day. After a tense and historic election, Biden and Harris won. And on January 20, 2021, Kamala Harris made history once again. She was sworn in as Vice President of the United States. First woman. First black Vice President. First South Asian Vice President. A barrier that had stood for over 240 years was finally broken. And Kamala Harris stepped into the White House not just as a politician, but as a symbol of historic change. On January 20, 2021, Kamala Harris entered the White House and made history. Millions watched the moment. For many Americans, it was deeply symbolic. A daughter of immigrants. A black woman. A South Asian woman. Now Vice President of the United States. It represented a dramatic shift in American political history. But history brings pressure. A lot of pressure. And Kamala Harris quickly learned that symbolic victories do not make governing easier. The vice presidency came with enormous challenges. The Biden administration entered office during intense national instability. America was dealing with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, economic uncertainty, immigration challenges, deep political division, foreign policy tensions. Kamala became one of the administration's most visible public figures. She was tasked with major responsibilities, including work related to voting rights and migration issues. These were highly difficult assignments, and politically risky ones, because no matter what happened, criticism was inevitable. Public scrutiny became relentless. As Vice President, Harris faced intense media attention. Every speech was analyzed. Every interview was dissected. Every public appearance became political material. Supporters argued that she faced unusually harsh scrutiny. Some believed gender and race influenced how critics judged her. Others argued the criticism was simply part of high-level politics. Either way, pressure remained constant. Kamala's communication style also became a frequent topic of discussion. Some admired her confidence and discipline. Others criticized moments they saw as overly cautious or unclear. This created mixed public perceptions. At times, approval ratings fell. Criticism increased from both conservatives and some progressives. That is one of the paradoxes of modern politics. Even historic leaders face relentless criticism. Sometimes especially historic leaders. Yet Harris continued building influence. Despite criticism, Kamala remained central to the administration. She traveled widely, represented the United States abroad, met world leaders, advocated for administration priorities. She became especially visible on issues involving reproductive rights, voting access, civil rights, economic opportunity. She also continued inspiring many younger Americans, especially women, especially minorities, especially first-generation immigrant families. For many people, Kamala represented possibility. Proof that barriers can be broken. Proof that institutions can change. That symbolic impact alone became part of her legacy. But history will ask a bigger question. How should Kamala Harris ultimately be remembered? As a barrier breaker? Certainly. As a powerful symbol of representation? Without question. As a transformational political leader? That debate continues. Like many modern political figures, her legacy is still being written. Some see immense promise. Others remain skeptical. Time will shape the final verdict. But one truth is already clear. Kamala Harris changed what leadership looks like in America. She expanded what millions believed was possible.